Hey, this is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review, where we come to you live every week and talk about the things that we've done last week, the things that we're working on right now, and some of the things that we got coming up in the future. What we're going to do right now, we're going to play our intro video. That way you get a chance to like, share, and hopefully go to our YouTube and subscribe. We'll be right back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. Our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, we are back. We're back. This is the CSRN podcast, our week in review. And as I said before, every Tuesday we stream live from Mott Branch Library. And big shout out to the staff of Mott Branch Library, where they roll out the red, black, and green carpet every week when we come to report out to you some of the things that's going on in the protest community and in activist culture and all of that. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I'm the co-founder of CSRN. And if you notice that Jody isn't here today, Yassin Muhammad is not here today, and they've got me here by myself with all the equipment. So if there's some mistakes that's going to happen today, and I'm sure that it will be, but that's because of them. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I'm the co-founder of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bay. Man, 10 years ago, they had the idea to create something where just ordinary people can speak truth to power, and they didn't have to be politicians, pastors, professionals, or preachers. They just come together, have your facts, and get it done. And here we are 10 years later, still doing it, still making a difference. Today, what am I wearing today? Today, I have on my sweater, and this is for anyone that's sight impaired, or if you're driving and you want to just, what do these guys look like? I've got on a kind of a tan sweater, dress shirt underneath. I do not look like the activist right now. All right. I've got my brown glasses on, my beads, and as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. And this is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. Now, also, if you see in the title that the CSRN podcast Week in Review with Mike Hood, Spencer Township Trustee, Chairman. Hey, we had Mike coming in today. He wasn't able to make it, but he said, hey, look, Brother Washington, you got to reschedule me. You got to reschedule me. So we're going to reschedule our brother because he's representing Spencer Township, and I've been out Spencer Township. That's in the Holland area, Springfield area. And there's so much Black history there. And I don't want to do it an injustice by saying what I think, because I don't know what I'm talking about when you talk about Spencer Township. And we're going to get Mike in to talk about it. It is Black history. It is current history. And we wanted to take a kind of a different look at Black history this year, and not only talk about some of the people's, our ancestors that have really made a huge impact in the past, but we also want to talk about those that's making a difference now. Speaking of differences, I do have Jody in the green room. We're going to bring him in. Right now, I think he's at rehearsal now for Sweat. And I'm going to try to see if they got that, if they have the graphic up. Right. We're going to talk about Sweat. It's going to be at the Toledo Rep, February 16th. Hey, that's in a few days through the 25th. Let's get our brother in.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's going on, Jody? What's happening?
Oh, good. Life is good. I'm loving the process of finding myself.
All right. Hey, I'm seeing a lot of posts about the director and what's happening and how everybody's really gelling together. Man, are you ready? That's in 3 days.
Hey, I've been practicing for this my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be ready so you don't have to get ready, so they say.
That's right.
Good decade of performing as a solo entrepreneur, all the stuff that Jody J. Summers, child of the system, and everything is. Also, by the way, hello to the audience. I'm sorry, I didn't get a proper introduction. I'm the treasurer of this wonderful organization. You're with me on my couch right now because I got about 15 minutes till I got to start getting ready to leave the house to go to rehearsals. But love all the people that watched the program over the years, and I'll be back. If not next week, week after next. So either the 21st or no, the 20th or the 27th. I might be back. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm ready. We're all ready as a casting crew. We just need the audience there. I also want to say there's a whole bunch of events going on same weekend, like 7 or 8, and I am going to continue to share them because, hey, I'm not going to starve if you eat. And if your house is packed, that means they got to go somewhere. I want all of our shows to be sold out. Toledo is a beautiful city. We have amazing, talented people, and you know, it's awesome just to be here. And I do remember the request for last time, so I did bring a poem per se. I think, did I put it up here? Yes, a poem with me to read before I have to go in a couple moments. How are you, Brother Washington?
Oh, I am doing just fine. And I just told the audience, unfortunately, we don't have Yassin Muhammad here. We don't have Jody here, but we do have you virtually, which is sort of kind of just as good. And also, I'm looking to do things a little bit different today because we're going to have our 5 minutes of heat
Right now.
right now. And that it's a Black History First family, a Black History First to have our 5 minutes of heat early. And before you do it, what is sweat about?
I want to say Toledo or any midtown American city that had a plant or factory in the early 2000s to 2008 era of just what the effect a Jeep, for instance, can do on a community with strikes like we just recently had or shortages, and how that community comes together, a few people in a bar over the years to, I guess, show you a small piece of their life. You don't get
All
to
right.
see every moment and stuff like that, but yeah,
All right.
that's what
And
it's about. I play Brucey, which is an African American man that is almost 100% opposite of myself. You have to see it. Come see
all
it.
right.
Tickets are $20.50. You can get them at the door. You can get them online. Come enjoy this wonderful performance we have for you. I got a couple minutes. So also on the 17th, join us with the Unbound Artist Extravaganza. They should be doing the promo now at the Glass City Center. On the 24th, I will be at Mott Branch Library for a talent show contest coming up. So I think she's still accepting stuff. Check my page. On the 28th, I believe I'm doing something. I got to get more details on that. But on the 29th, I'm going to be performing at the Master Center in the main library downtown for Elgin Rogers and one of his kickoff parties for Black History Month. Come see that. And then later that night, I'll be at the Entrepreneurs Club. So anyway.
All right. All right.
10 minutes. Okay. So again, love you all. I'll be back soon. Here's my intro. And then unfortunately, I have to go become Brucey.
All right.
So I am an open book to those that decide to read. 1,000 words, just 1,000 words to those who've only caught a glimpse of me. And a lifetime, yes, a lifetime to those that can say they were part of my story. If you are anywhere under the sound of my voice, you are now family. And because this is where I reveal the most vulnerable parts of myself. And I hope, yes, I hope that you hear me. Let's begin. Peace. Open doors. I keep knocking on doors I've already unlocked, trying to prove to people I'm not here to impress you. I just walked out of my door, found something to be involved in that benefits people I don't know, which is something most people don't do. Putting on multiple layers of clothes and traveling around with my buff duffel bag like I'm still homeless, and still people have issues. While they're driving their cars, paying their mortgage or rent, taking out another loan to go visit their sneaky link, or sneak diss somebody on social media because they commented on the post that you asked a public question to the masses of internet dwellers and are mad because I tell people I love you. Some days I just get tired of constantly repeating myself just to end up with the same answer of, I don't understand or can't comprehend what you're telling me because it doesn't look like the same bioengineered genetic mass of cloned comments that mean nothing past the scripted reaction. And I got all these followers. And look at the people who comment. While your post read, sponsored, recaptioned, copied, post edited down to where it doesn't have the same value of the page it came from, out of someone's life who actually lived it. So I should clap and applaud you for doing minimal effort for maximum return, reacting to reactions from posts that were made decades ago, or through some shell account that doesn't even exist. And the original creator gets no credit for you laughing at the mistakes in their life. But I should be happy, because now everyone gets a gold star, some payout from a corporation that makes billions off your views. And now you pay taxes to make sure you exist. So I keep knocking on those doors that I already unlocked, hoping that someone in the room will just notice me. Because when I opened the door the first time, they just looked and stared at me like I was some unknown virus that had to be contained or controlled. Because if I ever, yes, ever got out to reach the masses, their walls, yes, their walls would come crumbling down in peace. Love you guys. I got like 3 minutes.
All right. Well, hey, also next week we're gonna be giving away 2 free tickets to see Sweat.
Yep.
2 free tickets. So for anyone that inboxes us during the podcast, we're giving away 2 free tickets, and also
not 1, but 2.
And also the brothers and sisters from Muhammad's Monster 91, they chipped in for 2 free tickets to Savior's Day. So next week we're gonna be giving stuff away, man. I may get a free trip to okay, we're not eligible for the free trips anywhere. But
we
brother,
give the free trips.
Right.
That's our blessing.
Right. We appreciate you, Jody. Everybody go make sure that on the 16th that you go
the
see
25th.
From
So
the 16th.
Friday is opening night. Saturday, Sunday, we're off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're back Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And you can go on ToledoRep.org, or you can call 419-243-9277. All right. Hey,
love y'all. I'm out.
We're going to take a short break. Come back with Julian. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review, and we're going to show you a little Black history.
This time, ladies and gentlemen.
United will never be defeated. Come on, we have to.
Thank you so very much for sharing your opinions today. We thank you for sharing your voice. We do believe in expression.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up,
Now,
don't
ladies and
shoot!
gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to
Hands
introduce
up!
our voice.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, we are back. That was not a even smooth transition. We're going to just blame the tech team for that. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. Before I get started with the mission statement, let's bring Julian in from the green room. We're going to get this started today. Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brother Washington? How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. Happy Black History Month to you, brother.
My name is Julian Mack, preferred gender pronouns he, him, and I am wearing my red, black, and green today in honor of liberation.
That's right. Hey, listen, one of the things that we didn't get a chance to do earlier was to really get into our mission statement, and then we're going to get into the inward revolutionary, and we got a couple other things to share today regarding Black history, and particularly our brother Mike Hood, who wasn't able to make it today, but I do want to give a shout out to Spencer Township. Family, our mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer of Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often, police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end.
Right.
We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive community-based events that help to foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice equally applied to all, regardless of creed, class, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that's our mission statement. I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that we've been able to hold true to that for 10 years. We never had to back off of it. We never had to apologize for saying justice or Black lives or police brutality. And I really want to thank everybody, and particularly you, Julian, Jody, and everybody under 60 that does this, because most of us as older people, we don't have much to lose because we've already risked it all. We've already sown our oats. So it's not too difficult for an older person to stand up. But our young people with your life in front of you, our young people with so much potential, I just respect it, man. I really do. So I know that CSRN wouldn't be here without youth involvement, without young thinking, without the energy. So let's make that a Black history thing. And you do not have to be a senior citizen to be considered Black history. So we're going to kind of dead that this year. All right. Going to put that to rest, that a young person cannot be a part of Black history, and you could be alive too. So for you, Julian, I know we're talking, it's Black History Month, and we do this every week. We really do this every month. Any particular reason for you why this month is particularly special to you, brother?
Well, yeah, Frederick Douglass was born in this month.
Yes,
right?
sir.
That's why we have it in February. Not some. Listen. There's a lot of plots by the man, right? But Black History Month being in February is not a plot by the man, right? It's to honor Frederick Douglass. Let's be clear about that.
Right. That's beautiful.
You know, who honestly is a was a great man and has a legacy worth enormous amount of celebration. We're talking about a man, one of the, sometimes we can undersell some of the moments that can really revolutionize and change us. I remember I got, shout out to my Uncle Chuck. When I was 8 years old, I received the audio version of the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. And I was upset. I did not like it. That was not the gift I wanted at 8 years old. I think at 8 years old, there were like some new Ninja Turtles or something like that I was far more interested in. And,
yes, sir.
And that gift did not get touched more than, touched, right? Not even touched.
I get it.
For about 4 more years until I reached the age of 12. Right? And then at the age of 12, and this is before Audible and all these other types of, before listening to, when books on tape were on tape, right?
Yeah.
I might be dating myself a little bit here, right? But but at the age of 12, I took out those was it like 12? I think it was like 12 different tapes. And I listened to the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. It was one of the most powerful stories to this day I've ever heard in my life, right? Where, he talks about what it was like, to see his family beaten, right? He talks about, one, not knowing his true age. Right? I remember at 12 years old, that struck me particularly, not knowing exactly how old you are. That was amazing. And then, him not being that much older than me at the time and plotting and finding a way to freedom was incredible to me. Like, this is a real man.
That's right.
And that wrote this real story. That lived this story that's his real life. And just the beginning of it, took a hold of me. And there's something special about books that I'm rediscovering is when you read it, it's hard not to get behind. It's hard not to at least understand the perspective that you're reading. There's foolishness all across social media and TV, right, that we completely disagree with. That's completely false. But there's something different. I don't know neurologically how that happens, but when you read a thing, it makes it so you can at least see the perspective on a different level.
Right.
And for a little while, I felt like I was Frederick Douglass, right? And that was one of the most amazing gifts of my childhood as I look back at it as an adult. So shout out to my Uncle Chuck for that.
That's right.
I thank you for that.
All right. Now, recently, we've been talking about the Inward Revolutionary, and you had made a post, I think it was last week, that each week you wanted to read a passage of some a Black book or some literature pertaining to us, which was a great idea, because everybody can, the internet, social media could be used to also build up. And we can make
it. My heart was in the right place, bruh, but the execution was a little bit off. Well, right? Because I picked this book to read first, which was
Which
A
book is that?
little much, brother. Black Skin, White Mask by France Fanon.
Okay.
Fanon is not an easy read live on the internet, brother. Right?
Okay. Well, check this out. Whenever you're doing something new, we got to get data first. We get into research and development, and we're going to have to do some beta testing. The same way we started this podcast today, there was some beta testing to make sure that this microphone is working, not the one on the camera, not the one on the computer. And if there are some mistakes, at least we know them. So yes, that may be a hard read live, but now we know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But speaking of which, I got my new mic on. How am I sounding?
To this week, you sound so far. You sounding good. Okay, so far, you sounded good. Last week we were sort of going in and out, and once we link in, it's kind of too late. And I really don't like to tell someone to log out and log back on, but it was a little bit difficult. So right now, you sound good. The video is streaming well. So whatever you're doing, let's put that in a bottle and do it again next week. All right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and, it struck me, I started to feel real. I've spent actually very little time on social media this year, not just in 2024, but in the year in general. And it kind of struck me a bit, the lack of Black history floating around social media platforms. Right? I remember when, and maybe I'm showing my age and becoming a little bit ornery with this, but I remember when like the fake Black History Month facts was new. Right? That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And this is just one man's opinion, but it's not that funny anymore, right? Because we have real history that we don't know. We have real perspectives and knowledge that we're not sharing, that we don't know, and and I'm starting to become actually quite concerned. Black History Month is not a joke, right? It's a lot of work went into creating it as Negro Achievement Week in the first place by the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and then for it to become a whole month celebrated in the scope that it is. There's no easy accomplishment, and we owe it to our ancestors to celebrate it properly. So it is in that vein that, and with Valentine's Day coming right around the corner, I have I believe it's 5 pages from Bell Hooks all about love that I think are very important to read for the inward revolutionary today.
All right, and I would agree with you. Maybe you're getting a little ornery in your old age. You're about to tell those kids to get off your grass and not give them their ball back. One of the things that we could do for those who are administrators over our page, post some Black history facts. I know that some people are posting not today, Rosa Parks. What's the other one? There was a couple of them. My son even posted one of those. But however,
it's good to have fun.
However,
yeah.
What is that? Serenity prayer thing. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. People gonna post.
Yeah.
All right. The courage to change the things that I can.
Yeah.
All right. I could post myself. All right. Because social media will have you messed up if you take it serious. So I back out. If I'm scrolling through, I'm like, nope. People deserve to do whatever they want on their page.
Yeah.
They really do. And in reality, and also I really believe that people may be posting, but just because you don't see it doesn't mean that they're not posting, because the page really belongs to Facebook. The page really belongs to Elon Musk and whoever owns Instagram. Is that Facebook?
No, that's Twitter.
Okay.
Zuckerberg. You're talking about Zuckerberg. Yeah.
Right. So they can put on their pages whatever they want, and they can filter through our stuff, just as if for instance, we cannot boost an event on Facebook if it has the words Black Lives Matter in it. So all of the podcasts that I boost, they will not have Black Lives Matter in it. It will have CSRN. It will have Julian Mack. It may have Mike Hood, Spencer Township Trustee. But once you put Black Lives Matter, nope, they either won't boost it, or it goes to the bottom of the ladder of things that people are going to see. So the foolery that we see is orchestrated. The foolery that we see is not controlled by you and I. We just post and hope that it gets into that algorithm, But I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that we're doing something today, which is having this conversation, and we're here live doing it. So that's what's up. That's what's up. I really wanted to get into why did you pick reading? Why didn't you pick show a video? Why didn't you pick show the latest celebrity crush?
No, that's a very, very good question. So it's coming. I feel called to answer the question in a simple way, and to answer it in a non-simple way. I've realized that there are those who want us to press, and those who continue to push for our oppression do not want us to read. One, two, as there's a generation of children right now in school that are struggling with reading and reading comprehension, and there's a generation of older folks, younger folks. There's a lot of Black folks out here that are struggling with reading, right? And let me take the shame away from it, right? Because for about the past 10 years, right, I've had struggles reading myself, right? As a byproduct of some mental health issues and a level of anxiety that I didn't realize I was experiencing. I was unable to just sit and read. Right? I knew how to, I wasn't able to, right? And I've since been, I don't know how to say it, healed from that.
That's what's
over
up.
the past couple months, and I found joy in the ability to be able to really read and write for fun again. And it's something that I don't want to let go of ever again. It's a practice and a skill that I never want to lose again. And as I've been doing it more and more, I realize the power in words, which is actually one of the passages that I was reading of Fanon in Black Skin, White Mask is talked about the power of language and the power of language to be able to liberate, and even the power of language to be able to colonize. Right? One of the most powerful aspects of colonization is, listen, we as pro-Black as we want to be, but we all speak in English. You understand, right?
I understand completely. Yes,
You know,
sir.
so and then we can even get into the different dialects, right? And how different dialects uh, can be interpreted as different levels of liberation, right? There's so much power in language, but specifically in words, in the words we speak, the words we say, the words we read, the words we write. Words are power. Words are spells, and mastery of those of spelling and spells and language is, I'm afraid, is something that I means that we can capitalize on, and I'm going to continue to capitalize on.
Hey, listen, I need to take a short break. We got Voices Latinas. We got this spot that we want to do. And when we come back, I want to ask the question regarding what makes you pick which book to read. All right. And we're going to get into that. Hey, family, we're going to be right back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review.
It's the Panama Canal.
En esta hermosísima ciudad de Orlando.
I'm here in Barranquilla, Colombia, and in sunny Miami. Daytona Beach, mis amigos, that's where we're at today.
Desde la ciudad de Cartagena, Colombia.
We are in Orlando right now, here in Florida.
I'm Helene Sheets, Director of Marketing and Communications at beautiful Lourdes University, and we've been a proud sponsor and supporter of Voces Latinas TV for over a decade. It has been a fantastic partnership. It's been our doorway into the Latino community. We've met so many incredible people, created so many partnerships. Our students absolutely love the connections we've made through Voces Latinas TV, and we're looking forward to at least another decade, 2 decades.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent, and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. We were going to ask Julian the question regarding the recent idea to go over some readings and maybe come back and process it, or at least let the people know that these things exist, and you can go to your local library, you can go online, and you can also appreciate the art of reading. And we talked about the difference between reading a book and watching a movie. The movie robs you of your imagination, your processing, and your creativity. All right, along with some other things. And being able to be with you in the reading, you can really get into the author's mind and then process it the way that you like to process it. Whereas a movie is going to tell you what to think about the outcome. And before you can even process it, the movie goes off and you're done. We don't even talk about the movie. All right. We're just entertained instead of having that inward revolutionary peak so that we can actually dive deeper into what this person wrote. And I just think that that's revolutionary also to have those readings and to be able to share them with us. So for you.
Yeah, and can I add on to that? That's a very good point, because as I'm maturing, right? Not just in body wise and age wise, but mentally and spiritually, right? The dangers of understanding the dangers of black and white thinking, or all or nothing thinking, right? Developing maturity on a spiritual level really is being able to hold more than one idea at a time, not an either or perspective, perhaps a both and. Contemplation, right, is a huge benefit to mental health. To be able to just chew on an idea enough to not even fully digest it, but just to chew on an idea and see how it fits with your palate. And then, like people do wine tasting. From what I've never done a wine tasting, but from what I hear,
yeah, that's right.
From what I hear,
not unless it was Thunderbird of 1978, or
from what I hear, they just taste
Morgan
it and spit it
David
out.
of what is that? Morgan David MD 2020. Yeah, but those are not the wines that we want our people to go out. Yes, sir. Or the Boone of Farms. All right.
Yeah, let me tell the whole truth, right?
Yes,
but from
sir.
what I hear, you just taste it, and keep it moving. Or if it agrees with your palate,
yes, sir.
one would indulge.
Yeah,
But
that's up, bro.
understanding that, right? Just being able to test and taste ideas as one matures and grows with intellectual and spiritual thought, right? And also understanding, right, as I go spiritually, that literalism is the lowest level of understanding, right? So that to say a thing literally, right, but then to understand it on level, and as I kind of took my time and then came back, right, I've even on this podcast had I don't know what I'd call it, a couple gaps or just moments, right? Because as I was listening and really on multiple different levels, I would hear things and I would interpret them on multiple different levels, right? Beyond just a literal level. And so being able to look at that, right? And we as fans of hip hop, we appreciate the double and triple entendre, right? And so understanding that same is with that exists in all of language.
Right. And I can add that's what CSRN has always been about. I mean, you could look at our backdrop. We've got Justice or Else, the 20-year anniversary of the Million Man March with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We've got Shop Local, and Shop Local could mean shop local. We've got See Hustle, Black Lives Matter. We've got the squad, so there's some political representation there. You've got our iconic photo from May 30th, 2020, and you got the Justice or Else All-Stars. So we struggle to come out of that literal thinking or that my way or highway type of thinking, and that pigeonholes us. And particularly if you are involved in the protest community or activist culture, who are you to tell me that we can only do police brutality, all right, and we can't do anything else? You know, who are you to say we can't speak out on international issues? Don't tell me that that doesn't make a difference to us or it doesn't impact us. It does impact us. So we can, you know, so it's either or. I mean, it's not either or, but it's and.
It's a both and. Yeah.
And I live my life in first draft. What we're doing today may not be what we're doing tomorrow, but we're going to decide what we're doing. You're not going to decide what we do. All right. Nobody else is going to give us a mandate. Well, Brother Washington, looks like you guys are going to do the basket weaving. So, you know, abandon all of your stuff. No. And this is freeing, you know, doing this type of work is freeing. And lastly, however you come into this space doesn't mean that it's going to stay there. All right. It just doesn't. Just imagine we may have started talking about police brutality, but now we're talking about some spiritual components. You don't find that within the activist community. There's either we're mad, we're angry, we're upset, or we're or a combination of all three. Yeah. And that's tiring. You know, and I know better that we can't sustain a consistent angry. You know, nobody can.
Or else the young people won't get to be your age or my age.
Right.
Seriously.
Absolutely. And
I was there's a good dear friend I met at the Movement for Black Lives convening, right? That happened in Cleveland in 2014.
15. That was 15.
Yeah,
Right before
2015. Yeah, and you know, let us not forget that there are a lot of. Let us not forget that under the flag and the call for justice that is Black Lives Matter, lives have been lost, right? And we must not ever forget that. Right? There's a lot of people who haven't made it this far.
Absolutely. And it comes with this type of work. I just hope that every group has some level of healing while we're fighting. All right, but we need to take a step back. Sometime we might step out a little bit too far, and it may take a little bit too long to heal, but that's got to be a part of what we do more than the opposition, because there's going to be enough oppression for everyone tomorrow. But
real quick, Brother Washington, and this is you know, since you mentioned you live in like rough draft, you live in your first draft or rough draft live. Do you mind bringing up the principles?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
CSRN?
Let's see, how can we do that? Normally have some young whippersnappers here to do that.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because I was contemplating, right? The question you asked me before the break of how do I come up with some of the books that I'm reading. One, let me just say that you know, my TikTok algorithm has been so healthy for me. I don't know if they're just the competition between Coke and Pepsi and Facebook and TikTok right now, because where I get all of this negativity on one platform, I've gotten my algorithm is hitting with all kind of positivity, mental wellness, and Black books that that are recommended by mental health practitioners.
And we're talking about TikTok now, right?
With a liberation psychology framework, right?
And you're talking about your algorithm of TikTok.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that TikTok algorithm.
You know, that's I believe that's why America doesn't want people to have it. You know, because once you lock in, you're going to get what you want.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to get what you want rather than it being decided by someone else. So that's what's up, bro.
But that being said, you know, it might be time to go ahead and bust out a CSRN TikTok coming soon in 2024.
Absolutely.
Let's put that in the atmosphere. And
absolutely.
Make that manifest that, brother.
Look, leadership is fundamental. Our movement must constantly multiply as our leaders, and we need to leave those tools behind that no longer serve us. So we might want to consider getting more into that TikTok space.
Yeah.
We might want to consider being a little bit more heavy on Instagram. You know, so what you're saying is right and exact and true.
So we believe that all Black lives matter. Right? We believe we thrive instead of survive. We believe in experimentation and innovation must be built into all of our work, and all of all that we do must be built into our culture. We evaluate and assess the best practices and leave what does not serve us.
That's right.
We embrace loving and direct communication. I'll say it again. We embrace loving and direct communication. We believe we practice love, self-love. Love and self-love is the indicator of all we do. Love and self-love is the driver of all we do and the indicator of our success. Right. Without this practice, we will undermine each other and harm our movement.
That's right.
Now, I just want to, man, I remembered that. I guess my memory ain't so bad after all. Right?
No, it's not. We're not going to grade you on it, but that was good.
That's close. That's close.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a hater because
we got the Cliff Note version on here. That's close
right.
though. We got to get the long form. Right?
That's beautiful.
But with that being said, I do want to stay on that point for a minute, and because it is with that led me to this book, Bell Hooks, All About Love. Yes, there it is. We practice self-love in every element of all we do. Self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe.
And before you, Ashe, before we continue, I got to give a shout out to JoJo Talking. She's on TikTok, and she saw what we did, and she said, Brother Washington, I've got a great idea about your mission statement and your guiding principles. I want to put it into a slideshow. I'm like, what? And you know, it teaches us not to judge too quickly. And she took our guiding principles. She took our mission statement, and we went back and forth. What is this like? How do you like this? Do you want the bullets? Do you want it in red? I'm like, yes. All right, yes, absolutely. So JoJo Talking, we found her on TikTok. She visited us here at Mott Branch Library. She was motivated and inspired by you. And there's people that you inspire, Julian, that you have not met, do not know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And and that's what's up, brother. So
That's
shout out
amazing, and that warms my heart, right? Because
Yeah.
you know, we've had private conversations sometimes about the cost, right? Of the, I mean, that's what led me to this segment. That at some point, brother, we're gonna get to before you start rushing me. But
Yeah.
about the cost of this, the cumulative cost of this work on my inward life over well, I guess at this point over a decade, you
That's
know,
right.
of intensive work, you know, and so hearing that is awesome, is awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and get to this because I keep going back one page and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should. But there's so much goodness. There's so much goodness here. Um, I do want to have time to really honor these words and really, if we can, discuss them even further afterwards. So yeah, this is from chapter 12 by Bell Hooks, all about love, healing, redemptive love. We have been brought, so it starts the chapter with, we have been brought into the inner wine cellar and sealed with his seal, which is to suffer out of love. The adore of this love greatly outweighs any suffering we may undergo, for suffering comes to an end, but love is forever. That's from Tessa Beakley. I'm gonna go ahead and read these 7 pages, man, and knock this out because I believe these are very powerful words. Love heals. I'm gonna go ahead and take the glasses off for this one, man. I gotta get the language right, as Dr. King said, right? Love heals. When we are wounded in the place where we would know it, where we would know love, it is difficult to imagine that love really has the power to change everything. No matter what has happened in our past, when we open our hearts to love, we can live as if born again, not forgetting the past, but seeing it in a new way, letting it live inside of us in a new way. We go forward with the fresh insight that the past can no longer hurt us. Or if our past was one in which we were loved, we know that no matter the occasional presence of suffering in our lives, we will return always to remembered calm and bliss, mindful remembering. Let us put the broken bits and pieces of our hearts to get together again. This is the way healing begins. Contrary to what we may have been taught to think, unnecessary, unchosen suffering wounds us, but need not scar us for life. It does mark us. What we allow the mark of our suffering to become in our own hands. In the collection of his essays, The Fire Next Time, James Baldwin writes about suffering in the healing process, stating, I do not mean to be sentimental about suffering, but people who cannot suffer can never grow up, can never discover who they are. Growing up is at heart the process of learning to take responsibility for whatever happens in your life. To choose growth is to embrace the love that heals. The healing power of the mind and heart is always present because we have the capacity to renew our spirits endlessly, to restore the soul. I am always particularly grateful to meet people who do not feel their childhoods were marked by unnecessary pain and suffering, by lovelessness. Their presence reminds me that we do not need to undergo anything dreadful to feel deeply, that we never need suffering to be imposed upon us by acts of violence and abuse. At times, we will all be confronted with suffering and unexpected illness, a loss. That pain will come whether we choose it or not, and not one of us can escape it. The presence of pain in our lives is not an indicator of dysfunction. Not all families are dysfunctional. And while it has been crucial for collective self recovery that we have exposed and continue to expose dysfunction, it is equally important to reveal in and celebrate its absence. Unless we can all imagine a world in which The family is not dysfunctional, but is instead a place where love abounds. We doom family life to be always and only a site of woundedness. In functional families, individuals face conflict, contradictions, times of unhappiness and suffering, just like dysfunctional families do. The difference lies in how these issues are confronted and resolved, and how everyone copes in moments of crisis. Healthy families resolve conflict without coercion, shaming, or violence. When we collectively move our culture in the direction of love, we may see these loving families represented more in the mass media. They will become more visible in all walks of daily life. Hopefully, we will then listen to these stories with the same intensity that we have when we listen to the narratives about pain, about violent pain and abuse. When this happens, the visible happiness of functional families will become part of our collective consciousness. And in family, a revolutionary way of self-discovery, John Bradshaw offers this definition: a functional, healthy family is one in which all the members are fully functional and the relationships between members are fully functional as human beings. All members have available to them the use of all their human power. They use these powers to cooperate, individuate, and to get their collective and individual needs met. A functional family is a healthy soil out of which individuals can become mature human beings. In a functional family, self esteem is learned and there is a balance between autonomy and dependency. Long before the terms functional and dysfunctional were used to identify types of families, those of us who were wounded in childhood knew it because we were in pain. And that pain did not go away even when we left home. More than our pain, our self destructive, self betraying behavior trapped us in the traumas of childhood. We were unable to find solace or release. We could not choose healing because we were not sure we could ever mend the broken bits and pieces, ever could be put together again. We confronted ourselves by acting out, but this comfort did not last. It was usually followed by depression and overwhelming grief. We longed to be rescued because we did not know how to save ourselves. More often than not, we became addicted to living dangerously. Clinging to this addiction made it impossible for us to be well in our souls. As with any other addiction, letting go and choosing wellness was our only way of rescue and recovery. In many ways, I have acted out throughout my life. When I began to walk on the path of love, I was awed by how quickly previous dysfunctions were changed. In the church of my girlhood, we were always told no one could give an individual salvation, that we had to choose it for ourselves. We had to want to be saved. In Tony Cage Barassa's novel, The Salt Eaters, wise old women who are healers are called in to assist the young woman who has attempted suicide, and they tell her, just so you're sure, sweetheart, and ready to be healed, because wholeness is no trifling matter. A lot of weight when you are well. Making the primal choice to be saved does not mean we do not need support and help with problems and difficulties. It is simply that the initial gesture of taking responsibilities for our well-being, when we confess to our brokenness, our woundedness, and open ourselves to salvation, must be made by the individual. The act of opening the heart enables us to receive the healing offered us by those who care. Although we all want to know love, we talk about the search for true love as though it is always and only a solitary request. I am disturbed by the weighty emphasis on the self in so much New Age writing on this topic and in our culture as a whole. When I would talk about my yearning for a loving partner, people told me over and over again that I did not need anyone else. They would say I did not need a companion or a circle of loved ones to feel complete, that I should be complete inside myself. While it is definitely true that interconnectedness and a sense of fulfillment can be there, whether or not we commune in love with others, it is equally meaningful to give voice to the longing for communion. Life without communion and love with others would be less fulfilling, no matter the extent of one's love. All over the world, people live in intimate daily contact with one another. They wash together, eat and sleep together, face challenges together, share joy and sorrow. The rugged individual who relies on no one else is a figure who can only exist in a culture of domination where a privileged few use more of the world's resources than the many who must daily do without. Worship of individualism has in part led us to the unhealthy culture of narcissism that is so pervasive in our society. Western travelers journey to the poorest countries and are astounded by the level of communion between people who, though not materially rich, they have full hearts. It is no accident that many of the spiritual teachers we gravitate to in our affluent society, which is driven by the ethos of rugged individualism, come from the cultures that value interdependency and working for a collective good over independence and individual gain. While terms like codependency came out of programs for individual self-recovery rightly show the ways in which excessive dependency can be unhealthy, especially when it is marked by the support of addictive behavior, we still need to talk about healthy interdependency. No organization dedicated to healing demonstrates this principle more than Alcoholics Anonymous. Millions of people who attend AA meetings seek a place of recovery and find that the affirming community that surrounds them creates an environment of healing. This community offers individuals, some for the first time ever in their lives, a taste of that acceptance, care, knowledge, and responsibility that is love in action. Rarely, if ever, are there any of us healed in isolation. Healing is an act of communion. 3 pages left. Most of us find that space to, most of us find the space of healing communion with like-minded souls. Other individuals recover themselves in communion with divine spirit. Saint Teresa of Avila found her union in the divine with recognition, comfort, and solace. She wrote that there is no need to go to heaven in order to speak to one's eternal Father or find delight in him, nor is there any need to shout, however softly we speak, here near enough to hear us. All we need to do is go into solitude and look at him within oneself and not turn away from so good guests, but with great humility speak to him. Prayer provides a space where talking cures. It is no doubt a sign of the spiritual crisis of our times that books are written to provide proof that prayer is soothing for the soul. All religious traditions acknowledge that there is comfort in reaching for the sacred through words, whether traditional, literary, prayer, or chants. I pray daily as a gesture of spiritual vigilance. Prayer is an exercise that strengthens the soul power. Reaching for the divine always reminds me of the limitations of human thought and will. Stretching and reaching towards that which is limitless and without boundaries is an exercise that strengthens my faith and empowers my soul. Prayer allows each person a private place of confession. There is truth in the axiom, confession is good for the soul. It allows us to bear witness to our own trespasses, to the ways we miss the mark, a definition of circumstances of our spiritual forgetfulness that we assume accountability. In their work, The Raft is Not the Shore, Daryl Brannigan and Thich Nhat Hanh stress that the bridge of illusion must be destroyed before a real bridge can be constructed. In communion with divine spirit, we can claim the space of accountability and renew our commitment to that transformation of spirit that opens the hearts and prepares us to love. After we have made the choice to be healed in love, faith that transformation will come gives us the peace of mind in the heart that is necessary when the soul seeks revolution. It is difficult to wait, no doubt. That is why biblical scriptures urge the seeker to learn how to wait, for waiting renews our strength. When we surrender to the weight, we allow changes to emerge within us without anticipation or struggle. When we do this, we are stepping out on faith. Buddhist terms of this practice, surrender of letting go, makes it possible for us to enter a space of compassion where we can feel sympathy for ourselves and others. That compassion awakens us to the healing power of service. Love in action is always about service. What we do to enhance spiritual growth, a focus on individual reflection, contemplation, and therapeutic dialogue is vital to healing, but it is not the only way to recover ourselves. Serving others is as a fruitful path to the heart as any other therapeutic practice. To truly serve, one must always empty the ego so that the space can exist for us to recognize the needs of others and be capable of fulfilling them. The greater our compassion, the more aware we are of the ways to extend ourselves to others that make healing possible. To know compassion fully is to engage in a process of forgiveness and recognition that enables us to release all the baggage we carry that serves as a barrier to healing. Compassion opens the way for individuals to feel empathy for others without judgment. Judging others increases our alienations. When we judge, we are less able to forgive. The absence of forgiveness keeps us mirrored in shame. Often our spirits have been broken again and again through rituals of disregard, which we were shamed by others or shamed ourselves. Shame breaks and weakens us, keeping us away from the wholeness healing offers. When we practice forgiveness, we let go of shame. Embedded in our shame is always a sense of unworthy. It separates. Compassion forgives and reconnects us. Forgiveness not only enables us to overcome estrangement, it intensifies our capacity for affirming one another. Without conscious forgiveness, there can be no genuine reconciliation. Making amends both to ourselves and to others is the gift compassion and forgiveness offers to us. It is a process of emptying out wherein we can let go of all the waste that is there. It is a clear place within where we can see the other as ourselves. Even small acts of forgiveness always have significant ramifications on a personal level. Even small acts of forgiveness contribute to one's sense of trust in oneself and the potential of others, as they contribute to a human spirit that is fundamentally hopeful and optimistic rather than pessimistic or defeated. They contribute to knowing oneself and others as potentially powerful people who can choose to lovingly create versus seeing humans as basically selfish, destructive sinners. Last page. When
okay, well, I can't. I'm sorry, brother. Look, we're gonna have to go because I'm here at the library, and let me just close on out. But in the future, you know, I understand, but you know, that's a lot of reading. All right, and it's a lot of time, and yeah. So let me close out with sharing our Facebook. If anybody wants to support us, go to our YouTube, like our YouTube page, subscribe, share, comment. If you want to support us via Cash App, hashtag CSRN 419, PayPal CSRN 419. And as always, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Justice or else.
Justice or else.
Peace.
Peace.